Thanks, Isha. This session essentially, Rajesh, is a rather selfish session for me. I really want to speak about what is ASK Private Wealth doing for the ecosystem. Just three questions I just want everyone to know. So firstly, everyone's talking about IPO. It's an IPO season. So what do you and ASK Private Wealth do in terms of IPO support? And could you briefly share one example where you have helped teams during IPO process, maybe with a real example?
So IPO creates two journeys. One is the company going public, and the other is the founder's personal balance sheet also going public, right? And our role comes in the second area, while of course IPO is a very significant milestone for most founders. So right from discussions pre-IPO about valuations, whether it's worth going for IPO, because we've been in the capital markets for 42 years, and we know that if your IPO value or your market cap is not significant enough, your coverage is very, very poor. And over a period of time, then your stock languishes. So what is the right time to go for an IPO? What kind of valuations, whether it's worth it, not worth it, is one exercise that we do. Second, of course, even if there's no IPO, or if you want to make your IPO very successful, we also help in getting some of our big family offices and ultra HNIs, because out of 400-500 billionaires in the country, many of them are our clients, and many family offices are also very keen to invest in late stage companies that are 1 or 2 years away from IPO. So we can even help those founders raise capital, either from family offices or get very strong institutions on the cap table that can help in the IPO. Our experience being backed by private equity players, we've had Advent and Blackstone. Blackstone came in 2022. Before that, Advent was there in 2016. So we've had experience with private equity players. We could also give ideas on how private equity could play a role rather than getting valued. And I think the key thing is about the liquidity planning before the DRHP gets filed. How do you create the right vehicle? What's a very tax efficient structure? How should wealth be held so that whenever there is a liquidity event, it can be managed well? We see with many startup founders, especially when they are first generation entrepreneurs, they tend to reinvest back in startups. And we've always guided them to create three kinds of pots. One is your safety security pot after liquidity. The second is the compounding engine that we call, where you can get long-term compounding by investing in businesses that are not related to what you do. And third is the so-called growth pot or a tactical pot that you can utilize to reinvest back in startups or techs or whatever else that you strongly believe in. I think this becomes important from a long-term standpoint, not to have all your wealth in one bucket, because every business goes through cycles. Typical example is real estate developers, where they thought that there's nothing better than real estate returns, but we've seen cycles come in and suddenly there's no liquidity or family goals don't get taken care. And then post-listing, there's a whole diversification plan of separating family wealth and business wealth. And there are lots of models to create it, family trust, LLPs, etc. So we take care of all the three areas: wealth preservation, wealth creation, and wealth planning post listing. Example, we had a fast-growing tech business client. 95% of his wealth was in the company. We created a plan that was for 10 years, on how he would plan the liquidity post-listing, and we implemented it in such a tax-efficient way that and that business went through a downturn. But because we created that pot, he could take advantage of many other opportunities that came in the market later on. So risk management, financial planning, this is our basic job.
So when you founded ASK Private Wealth, there was not a single unicorn in the country. Now this room is filled with cheetahs, gazelles, and unicorns. How have you seen your sector evolve using technology, or how the managing wealth? How have you seen you as an individual even evolve from that standpoint?
Tech or no tech, India is an emerging market. It has its ups and downs. We launched wealth management in 2006. First branch I launched in May 2007. Thinking I'll have 25 crores of capital, and we got into global financial crisis the day we launched within 1 year. Then you settled, you spent more capital than what you thought you would. Then 2011-12, some other crisis, and demonetization, COVID, wars, So I think all founders have to have that resilience to see through some of these disruptions that happen. And as long as you're in a business where the size of opportunity is huge and you have very high conviction, perseverance, and good backers, the original founders backed us, saying, okay, no matter what the situation is, we'll invest because we know that the size of opportunity is huge. It also, during tough times, like all of us have learned, that whenever there are 1 or 2 years of funding winters or really tough situations, the maximum learning happens there, right? You start focusing on productivity, efficiency, costs, you tighten your belt, you look at profitability, you are working hard to try and retain talent, you're working hard to attract talent, and that kind of learning, when the market does pick up and knowing how big India's story is, it does. It has a massive compounding and multiplier effect. So that was a journey. We used to make, we started with zero capital, 10 crores of capital. Today, last year we ended at 440 crores of PAT with 1100 crores of top line, over 19 years of perseverance. So patience, perseverance, knowing that you are in the right business where size of opportunity is there, and then massive learning through these tough times helps you scale up your business.
I wanted to ask you 3 questions. You sort of answered the second question to the first. So what will be your parting thoughts to the group here? Anything?
All these messages were key messages. Just keep at it. You have to be in a business where you have to continuously evaluate the size of the opportunity. The game is never about valuations. While we give all these awards of gazelles, cheetahs, and unicorns, these are motivational tools, but no business is built for valuation. Value always chases you if you've built a right business. Governance has to be top end. Even in the listed equity space, you will see 2 companies, same business models, but one will get 30 times earnings, the other will get 100 times earnings. And it's a lot to do with your governance standards, the way the integrity with which you build business. So that becomes absolutely critical. And secondly, of course, is being in the business where the size of opportunity is huge. India is one of the fastest growing economies, fifth largest by market cap, 7% growth, very strong spirit of entrepreneurship. So we are in the right place, right time. We are blessed. Our per capita income has crossed $2,900. Fiscally, we are strong. And especially for all of you, I think for the last decade, the digital infrastructure that's been built in India along with physical infrastructure has opened up so many opportunities for growth. So just keep at it. Innovation is important rather than just services. And I'm sure with the spirit of entrepreneurship that India has, you'll do very well.
Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Rajesh, please. Thank you.